Well, hello all and welcome. Hope you're doing well. I've got one or two little bits of jobs to do round here on the plot. One of which is to harvest some of these apples. I want to take some of these off here, and then because as you can see how these are drooping, I want to then cut them somewhere up there, cut them back so that these all open up. Two reasons really I want to do that. Opens this up, a bit more room, but also with my bird feeders, one of which is hidden behind there, it opens it up for the birds. We're what, middle of September, so it'll open that up for the birds to get onto the feeders once I can clear some of this and take some of the weight out. The branches should lift, and that's my theory, we'll see. I've got one or two other things that I want to harvest as well, and I've got a bit of a potato reveal for you. I'll explain about that as we get on. So I think without further ado, I'll spin you round and we'll get and have a go at some of these potatoes. Right, potatoes. In here I've got 2 rows of Valor. They went in the 17th of the 4th. Today is the 17th of September. I've never grown Valor before. Cut a long story short, I was given these. That's why I've only got 2 rows of 4 potatoes in each row. I think if I was planning on putting in here any more in here, I think I'd go at least 5 in a row, and I'd be able to get about 4 rows in, I think, because I'd close them up a little. But hey ho, they were, as I say, they were given to me, and I put them in here because as far as I know, even with the previous owner of this plot, potatoes were never grown in here, so I just wanted to see what they were like. So I'm going to just get this one up. Obviously I don't know what to expect. As you can see, horns, the tops are looking pretty good. So without further ado, let's have a look. Well, there's a couple of potatoes. They don't look too bad. Nothing's come off that. Aha, here we go. What I did do with these, once I'd earthed them up, I then put that in there as well. Once I earthed them up, I then put some grass cuttings over the top to help retain a bit of moisture. These, because of where these are, they have been watered. Oh yes, these are looking quite nicely. I don't think there's going to be any need to get any more than these up. That's the remnants of the old original seed potato. I'll even get these little diddy bits out. But as I say, I've never grown Valor before. I think that's it, but I'm quite pleased with that. That's going to be ample for us. Yeah, that's it. Oh, right. I'll show you what I've got. So there we go. Decent size, quite reasonable sized potatoes. I'm very pleased with them. They're very good. Off one plant. I shall probably set to and get the rest up another day. May even leave them yet, I don't know. But yes, very pleased with them. So I think the next job is spin you round, have a look at some of these apples, and we'll have some of them out. Right, get and have some of these apples off here. I'm just going to put them in with the potatoes at the moment. What we do with the apples is we basically, I suppose the way you'd call it is stew them. We treat them as if we were going to make an apple pie, and then they get boiled and they get put into, we've got some ice block trays, and we put them into those, let them freeze, take them out, and then bag them and put them in the freezer that way. And then whenever you want any for a pie, apple sauce, whatever, you've got them frozen. Help yourself, job done. I'm obviously going to look for the biggest and the ones that are not so bug infested, shall we say. There's absolutely loads on here. It's a shame. A lot of these will go to waste. This area, I've said it before, and I'm sorry for repeating myself, but this area from this fence that's there on that side there, that is like a communal area. There's a bench there that you can go and sit and so on. There's a shed in through there. In fact, once I've harvested these apples, I'll give you a bit of a spin round and then I'll explain myself. Right, let's have a look. What have we got here? Yeah, these are, and these, by the way, I don't think I really need to tell you, but this is a cooking apple tree. I've gone on saying about how we treat them and we cook them, and I think not wishing to insult your intelligence, I think you've worked out it's a cooking apple tree. There's another tree there with smaller apples, which are eating apples, which are quite nice actually. Let's have a look. I'll disappear under the, see if I can find some more under here. Yeah, there's one or two here that are reasonable size. Yeah, some more. I'm going to take quite a few because we'll do a batch in one go. These are a lot smaller here. That's a reasonable sized one. Some of the bigger ones are higher up, and I don't think I can get and pull that down. Oh, There you go, they're falling all around here. See, that's just fallen as I've taken that one off, so we'll have both of them. But as I've said before, it's a shame that other people don't come. I may as well take some of these from here. It's a shame more people don't come and help themselves. There used to be a chap that had a plot further down there, and he used to come and ask me if he could have the apples, and I used to always explain to him they're in a communal area, and you help yourself. So that's a reasonable size. As I say, I want to try and, I think that'll do us. I want to try and clear some of these off here so that I can then cut some of these branches down, you know, and then it'll open it up a little. In fact, I think only the potatoes that I had in there have now vanished under a sea of apples. I'm going to have a couple more. What I'll do is I'll show you, that one can go. I'll show you what I've harvested once I've finished taking these, but they are looking really good. It's been a good year actually with these. I think it's probably with the weather. Obviously there's certain fruits that haven't, that'll do. I think there's going to be certain fruits and veg for that matter that won't have benefited. Me beans, for one thing, they've flowered and been covered in flowers, but there's not a lot of beans been on them, and I think the consensus of opinion, talking amongst me fellow plot holders, the consensus seems to be that it's been too hot for the insects to pollinate the beans, and therefore they've flowered and then the flowers have just dropped off. I don't know, leave a comment, let me know if you've had a similar situation and what you think it's down to. Sweet corn, be rude not to take some sweet corn, I think, so let's have a few of them. Well, here we go, little bit of harvest. In the bottom of that basket are those potatoes. Then I've got, as you can see, I mean they're not perfect, there's a bit of damage to some, but these apples, all decent size, all very good. I'll show you those, as you can see, and I could have taken, well, I could take that again 5 or 6 times, easy, very easy. Beetroot, we've got some beetroot here, again bolt hardy, had a few more of them. That's something I've never known before, is with the way they've rooted like that. Having said that, we've got like 3 on there, so I normally just see them one single root, but not sort of like this, but still very pleased with them. And the sweet corn, well, this year it's been absolutely superb. I started picking them and taking the outer leaves and so on off. In all I've got 25, and that's off 28 plants, and I am very, very pleased with those. They are superb. I mean, we'll freeze them as they are, as in like that, but last night, as an example, last night I had cob like that, and I put it in the air fryer. Used the air fryer to cook it, and it was superb. It was just, you know how you are. So I'm very pleased with them. I mean, there's all sorts. These still, I mean, let's open another one up and just see what these are like. The variety is Swift. I've done Swift for past 3 or 4 years now. There we go. Just look at that. I mean, what more could you ask for? Hey, lovely. I've done Swift for the past 3 or 4 years. I have tried others, but I keep coming back to Swift. So if it's not broken, don't mend it. That's how I look at it. As I say, very pleased, so keep growing it. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you. I've got another little something else I want to show you with regards a bit of, shall we say, a bit of surgery that needs to be done. But I'll explain once I show you what I'm talking about. Right, I said about with regards these apple trees, and I'll show you what with this little area here. As I said about, there's well, used to be, he's no longer on here now, but there used to be a chap, really nice fella, had a plot further down. Always every year used to ask me if he could come and help himself to some apples, and I don't really know why, because this is a communal area. I'll admit there's a lot of apples that are on my side of the fence that split this up, but anybody can come and help themselves to any of the apples here. But I'll just spin you around and show you what's what. Few steps there to take you down to this lower level, and then this tree here, this is eating apples, and that's about the size that you'd normally see them. And I will admit but I've just noticed there's 1 or 2 around here. We come round here, these, see, they're a lot bigger. I do help myself to 1 or 2 of these. In fact, I think I'm the only person on this allotment site that has these. I'm sure I am. Now then, here's the fence that separates my plot from the communal area. There's, as we come across, there's a shed there that has got a lawnmower and strimmer in it. We'll go around the back here. This is the other side of that cooking apple tree, and there's a few on it, not as many as the other side. The other side, that is really absolutely smothered in them. And what I want to do, you can see now the bird feeder that I've got here, and why I was saying about once I've harvested the apples from there that I want, I'll then cut them branches back, so it opens this up to allow the birds. We're mid-September now, and I want to start and put things into these for the birds, and it'll open it up. I've got another feeder here, I've got another one there, and just cutting some of these branches back, I'll open it all up to allow the birds to get in and out. Spin you around this way. It's a double whammy. As you can see, that earlier this year, that had all been freshly dug over. There's various different plants that people have put in, but as you can see, the old bindweed has taken hold. It's everywhere. There's another little path here that takes you up round there. That shed there is the communal shed. Now in there's facilities to make hot drinks. There's a couple of little tables, some chairs, there's magazines, gardening magazines for you to read, and we also, and a first aid kit of course, and we also have a seed swap tin. Don't need to explain that, but basically all that is anybody's got some seeds they don't want, put them in the tin and somebody else can have them. But yeah, this was, as I say, this was all dug over and it was looking really nice, and there was one or two that were putting things in, and let me turn you around, and I think like with a lot of things, whether it's members of the committee or very keen plot holders, but one or two individuals just sort of do this sort of work here, and big thumbs up, big 10 out of 10 to you for doing it. If I could commit more time, I'd definitely get an help out and get and do some work on things like this. But also on the other side of the coin, looking at it, this is now, as you can see, that it's all overgrown a little, gone wild, but that surely has got to be a good thing, because it means that nature's taking over, reclaiming some of this, and if you're helping the wildlife, you're going to help bugs, insects and so on, and hopefully they're going to help out on the plot with pollinating your crops. Am I right, or am I talking rubbish? I think so. It's a double whammy, you know. It's nice to see this all manicured and all nicely done, all the paths sort of were trimmed and so on, all this lot round here was all nicely mown almost, but when, like I say, when one or two that do it don't do it and it goes like this, is it really that a bad thing? Because you know, it turning over, or you're turning it over to nature. I think not. I don't think so. Right, a little something else that I wanted to show you with regards needing a bit of surgery, and that's me hedge along here. If I come back, as you can see, this fencing, this is the boundary with regards to the allotment. What I want to try and do is cut all this hedge back to as close to that fencing as possible. It's not going to be a 2-minute job. It's going to be a job that I'm going to have to take a bit of time doing, because it's got to go, you know, got to go a long way back to get to it. I've got loppers, saws, secateurs that I can use to go through this, but it all wants doing. It needed trimming earlier in the year, and as can be seen, the fella that lives here, he cuts the hedge and cuts this back and so on, and so all this overgrowth as such is my doing, but it's not as big. Shall we say the branches that are in this aren't as big as I thought they were going to be. But as we move along, we then, as I say, this is all the privet. Then we've got a bit of hawthorn that I want to cut back. I don't want to cut the top there, don't want to cut that. That's great for letting the birds. Let me come round a bit because the sun's in the way there. This top, I don't want to cut that away, because having my bird feeders over there, the birds get on here, they then go across to the feeder, back on here, feeder, back on, and so on. So I like to leave that. Helps to give them a bit of protection from any predatory birds. But I want to try and cut a lot of this back, take this out, as I say, go through this and go right back in there to the hedge. It's going to take me a few attempts to do it. I'm going to have to go through it very steadily, but as I say, this is probably the big job for winter, really, a job to do through the winter. So that's another bit of a job we've got to get and do. Just before I go, because there's just a bit of a flying whiz round, well, it's turned out more or less into a plot to this, and it wasn't. It was just basically one or two things I was harvesting, but still. But I want to show you this. Look at these, absolutely superb. Now, its botanical name I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to make myself look a bigger idiot than I am and try and pronounce it. But as you can see, I've got it on the end of my beans, and you can see how it climbs, and it's still going now. But this is called Spanish flag, and I think we can see why with the flowers. These will flower, and then you can't, well, I don't know whether it's picking it up, but just there and along, this seed pod's starting to form. But this is the best one. I've got another one at the other end of this bean rack, and it's not even in flower yet, but this one has really gone well, and I'm absolutely chuffed to bits. I really do love this flower, this climber. It's absolutely lovely, really is superb. Well, that's it for this one. Thank you all very much for watching. It really is very much appreciated, and I know I say that every time, but I really do mean it. I do appreciate people looking at my videos. It's what it's all about at the end, showing you what I'm doing. With regards to harvests that I've had, well, the sweet corn, that's all gone into a carrier bag and gone in the freezer, gone in the chest freezer. The day I harvested that, I did have some with our evening meal, and I've got to be honest, there's no way you can beat having it fresh. Really is absolutely spot on. The potatoes, I got another root up with the potatoes, so I got the two that were next to each other. The second one that I got up had a few more potatoes on it than the first, so I've got a little bit bigger harvest there. The beetroot, that's all been done. That is all pickled in jars and being stored. I don't know about you, but what I tend to do with anything like this, I leave it at least 3 months before I touch it. So it's going to be December time before I'm touching that. And talking of pickling and such like, with the amount of tomatoes that I'm harvesting, I've made some chutney, and I've done this more or less as per Digwell Green Fingers. The only thing I haven't done, he put some chili flakes in, and I haven't put them in this, because if I do that with this, there's no way my wife's going to touch that. The apples, they've been peeled, and I've used this chopper to core it and to chop them up. They've then gone into a bowl of water with some lemon juice in it to stop them going brown. They were then dried off, put onto a baking tray, and then into freezer and left overnight, and then bagged in small quantities and back into the freezer. One little thing that I'm thinking about, because of the amount of apples that are on that tree, I'm thinking about doing some rough scrumpy cider. Now, I watched a video that Sean James Cameron did, and he showed he was on a site, and he was talking to a gentleman that was cutting up and mashing apples, and said about making cider by just putting them into a fermenting vessel and leaving it for 6 months or so, and voila, you'd get your cider. Now, I've got the I'm not going to say I've got the ability. I've got access to a press. I do know I'm going to have to pay to have them pressed, but hey ho. And I'm just wondering if I could use those cooking apples to make cider. I mean, I'm assuming that you'd use normal apples because of the sweetness in them, but I would have thought maybe I can do it with cooking apples. If any of you out there know whether you can use either apple, please leave a comment and let me know. As I say, at the moment it's only a thought. I might not do it yet, but you know, it'd be nice to know whether I could use them up doing that. So we'll see. So that's it for this one, as I've said. So be good, look after yourselves, look after each other, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ra a bit.